area point reconnaissance when we come back. I'm Dr. Christopher Larsen, a veteran of the U.S. Army Infantry, founder of One Shepherd Leadership Institute, and author of Small Unit Tactical Doctrine. Okay, before we go to the whiteboard on this one, let's just clear it up. So this was called a point reconnaissance forever and a day, and I think that confused enough people that they decided to rename it. The point reconnaissance is, I give you a point on the map, you go tell me everything about that point. Perhaps people were taking this just a bit too literally because they weren't saying what was around the point. So if I tell you look at a four-way road junction, people looked at the four-way road junction and ignored everything else. Well, no, that's not going to do. I mean, I need the area around it. Oh, you mean the area around this named, area of interest. Okay, it's an area reconnaissance. Right away, that was very confusing because zone reconnaissance, area reconnaissance, they sound rather synonymous, even though they're not at all, and we'll take a look at that. Furthermore, now we may have been losing our focus as we said, well, this whole area, yeah, okay, still the whole area, but I want to know what's on that hilltop. I want to know what's sitting on the bridge as well, all the way around it. And so in military parlance, this has now become known as the area point reconnaissance. And to set aside any confusion, we still are talking about a point on the map and the area immediately around it. So let's take a look at this on the whiteboard. We have our named area of interest. This is, remember that in your 7 principles of reconnaissance, there's some critical principles there. That's why they're called principles. Anyway, one of them is to orient your reconnaissance on an objective. So this will be our objective, this named area of interest, and we've dubbed it Redstone. That's orienting our reconnaissance team on that. I do want to say that you don't hold reconnaissance in reserve. It's not like a combat power, it's an enabler. All right, and someone say a force multiplier. So you don't do that. But what you do is you manage your reconnaissance assets. You have to bring them back to rest and to be, reoriented and everything else. And they do. They need rest and maintenance and refueling. Whether they're human liquid mechanics or electronics or fueled mechanics, it doesn't really matter. You have to manage them, which means a rotation. So we've we've oriented our reconnaissance team on NAI Redstone. We have gotten our reconnaissance team all the way up to the ORP. From the ORP, it's decided who's actually going to conduct the reconnaissance. You say, oh, isn't everybody? No, we're going to leave some people back here to secure our ORP. Furthermore, if this was a very large team, I certainly wouldn't want to run the risk of being detected by putting such a large footprint forward. So you want to put the small as footprint forward, that is, expose as few of your troops as possible, but still achieve the objective, right? So we've already decided who's going. We all walk out together and we go to the release point, the RP. This is where the commander, the patrol leader, releases the authority to those reconnaissance teams to get done what they need to get done, namely to gather intelligence and information anyway on NAI Redstone. So this is the release point. Once again, it's done far enough back that we are not observed through sight or sound by the enemy or by this area. And again, that's a little tricky because you don't really yet know what's here, do you? So this has got to be done very cautiously and very slowly, and again with as few forward as necessary. What does that often look like? It can be many different things, but I would say, as a general rule of thumb, not greater than 6. So at the release point, let's say we drop the patrol leader and his RTO, and they are in touch with everybody else back in the ORP. These two would stay here. But I need battle buddies to go and actually conduct the observation of the NAI. Now, I said battle buddies. Could I put a fire team out there? Sure, in some cases I would. Could I put a squad or something larger? The answer is never say never, but wow, that's hard pressed for me to think in an area point reconnaissance why I would want to do that. It runs too great of a risk. A fire team may be, more likely a buddy team. And so the buddy teams are going to do something kind of unique. This one is going to leave, we're going to leave out the front, what we're going to call 12 o'clock direction of enemy or suspected enemy. So here's 12 o'clock. And we're going to leave out here, and this buddy team is going to make a long, slow, circuitous route around the NAI. And so we're checking out the area. Look at this. We're doing a broad sweeping look. And then we're going to come in where we think is right about the opposite side. Okay, opposite side of 12 o'clock. And we can say, well, this is roughly 6 o'clock then. These two guys are going to crawl in here and look. I just want to show you the route first before we get into the nitty-gritty of what they're going to do. And once they have a good look and decide, yep, they're on a time schedule and they should be given ample time to do this gradually, they're going to back way out, they're going to come back around, and they're going to get a look right here. Well, this would be the 9 o'clock. If that's 12, and this is 6, and that's 9, it doesn't matter to me how you're breaking it up, which numbers. You could use alphabet, you could use, I don't know, your favorite Starburst candy, whatever flavors. The point is, you can see what's happening is they're coming in here and they're getting a look. Once they're satisfied, yeah, we've gotten all the intel we need, they're going to back out and they're going to re-enter and rejoin the patrol leader and his RTO back here at the release point. So they got 2 vantage points, here and here, but they also swept around very slowly, very carefully to determine what the hell else was out here. So we're not only looking at the point, but the area around it. And you say, wow, okay, you got 2 vantage points. Well, that's my first team. My second team also leaves 12 o'clock, and they move right into the 12 o'clock position of the enemy, right? And they get a good solid look. Hey, what's going on there? What's going on? What can I see? And they're doing their responsibilities. After a while, they say, that's good enough. I better back out here. They're going to come over here, and they're going to look from this position. Well, you guessed it. That's 3 o'clock. There we go, 12, 3, 6, 9. And again, I don't care if you put 12 up here. I don't care if you call this, summer, spring, winter, fall, whatever, right? The point is that you're going to get this vantage point and this vantage point. And then once they've gathered all their intel, they're like, good enough for me. They're going to come slowly all the way out here and then rejoin the release point at the 12 o'clock. And they're going to link up. Now, do I have to send these out at different times? Sure. If we have that much time, let's send these out at completely different times. But most of the time, we don't have that much time. And by separating the task, 2 vantage points here and come back in, 2 vantage points here and come back in, you can see that we are eliminating as much as possible the likeliness that they will bump into each other and either go to ground and hide for hours and hours on end from their own good guys, or worse yet, shoot at each other. So this is the overall concept of an area point reconnaissance. This is how it's conducted. And again, these can be done, I'll try to do this, they can be done in tandem. That means together. Here, 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 here. What are they doing? Well, obviously here, there's 2 of them. They're walking very, very slowly, all right? They're walking very deliberately. They are looking. They are listening. They are smelling. They might be down on their hands and knees at times. At times they may need to go prone to hide from suspected enemy movement or confirmed enemy movement. They're using a great deal of stealth, which they have to be given time. Because of course, we don't want to find the information and then the enemy realizes we are there and found that information. Well, when we leave, the enemy's going to do their level best to change everything that we think we know. Information has an expiration date. So in stealth mode, we want to find the information and get away cleanly and never let the enemy know that we know, so that we can take this back to our commander. Now, there are exceptions. People say, wait, I thought reconnaissance hits hard, develops it. Yes, that's a reconnaissance in force, and we'll cover that in another video. But for this one, let's just say that speed is not our security, stealth is. That's the preferred form of security, and not just security for us, not being detected and therefore not being hunted down and killed, but also the information security. So they're coming in here. Now when they get into here, in most cases they're going to work together. Right? They're going to crawl in shoulder to shoulder and get observation. You know, they're going to use binoculars, they're going to use digital cameras, they're going to use any kind of detectors, night vision, thermals, whatever it is. They're going to be giving those assets to gather information and hopefully record that information. So that's what they're going to be using. Those are the tools they're going to be using, but it is stealth. I have seen, and it has worked sometimes not so well, but mostly it's worked rather brilliantly, whereby one warrior of this buddy team will take an overwatch and he'll keep his weapon. He's very, very light. He doesn't have a rucksack. He doesn't have any of that heavy, cumbersome stuff. That's way back here in the ORP. He left all of that real heavy stuff. He's probably got like some kind of water on him, probably a Camelback or something like this, and just recording information and his weapon. And probably neither one of them are carrying much in the way of ammunition. You don't need a combat load here. And in fact, if you got a couple mags, you know, per weapon, literally one guy can lay in Overwatch with both weapons. The other guy can literally strip down farther. I've seen guys completely go out of their battle rattle. In order to sneak in and crawl in gradually, slowly, under limited, visibility. They'll come in and get right on the objective. Take down vehicle, I don't know, license plates and whatever the case is. But you can, if needed. I don't recommend it. Don't expose yourself if you don't need to, but you certainly can do that. And so you can strip incredibly light. You're not going far. Sometimes I've seen guys literally drop off that stuff with the patrol leader right out here in the release point. It depends, because I believe it helped them move quicker. It all depends on the situation, MET TC dependent, right? Mission, enemy, time, terrain, troops available, and civilians on the battle space. All that said, that's what they're doing. And when we talk about how do I improve my stealth, you'll see a video on that, and there's another video out there for Ridge Runners and Gravel Stompers, and it literally is working on the very competencies, the stealth competencies that are necessary in a area point reconnaissance. So this is what they're doing. They're recording, whether it's by pencil and paper, right in the rain, whether it's by digital means. They're copying all this information, and then they're getting away gradually, nice and slow. They come back out here and they rejoin. What do you think they do? And if you said, well, I guess they're going to disseminate the information, you're correct. That's the first thing they do. There's many reasons. Of course, we want everybody in the patrol to know, so that if we are attacked and people die, we can still get the information back. But not only that, the patrol leader is sitting right there in the release point, because presumably he wants to see, what have you got? Show me your sketches. Show me your pictures. Let's talk. Remember, we're quiet over here. But he's saying, yeah, do I need to send them out again? Is there a part that I think that they missed that they should go gather information on? Do we need to go over here? So there's lots of reasons that they disseminate information here very quietly, and then pull back and disseminate information here. Still quiet, but noise and light discipline always, but you have a little more room to breathe, and you can be just a little more active. And so this is kind of it. And people say, well, what if a river runs through it? What if I've got something that I can't really pass, or a road, or something like this, and I can only get this from 2 vantage points? Well, you could break it into 2 and a third. You can do 1, 2, 3 vantage points in that case. Maybe you can't get to the backside by foot. Right? Maybe you're not going to swim across that river. Okay, that's fine, but you can still observe the far side. You can still look, listen, smell. You still have those thermals. You still have your write and rain and pencil. So you're going to observe what you can as much as possible, and you're still going to come back and disseminate that and go back. Is it possible that they say, hey man, we really need to get to the other end. Let's find a fording site and get reconnaissance on the backside? Yeah. Does that mean we do it from here? Possibly. Do we go back and let everybody know and find a new place to ford and then go and do it yet again over there? Again, possibly. But the point here is the techniques you see, the TTP involved, that's pretty much it. That is an area point reconnaissance. We are focusing on the point of a named area of interest, in this case NAI Redstone. In addition to focusing on that, we are traversing terrain around it to gather intel there as well. And again, this isn't the deepest dive, But that is an area point reconnaissance in a nutshell. More on reconnaissance later, all right? Thanks.